Mr. Simon, can you turn your mic on? Turn it
Turn it
on.
off. I thought you said, we can't see it.
Well, they might be able to still hear it.
I don't think you see it in here.
It would be, but it's not.
Anyway, y'all want to call a meeting, or is it 4 o'clock?
It's 4 o'clock.
This is a correct meeting. We're calling this meeting over today on August the 29th to discuss the position of city manager. I guess, you go ahead if you have anything.
I think basically what we're here to do today is talk about any kind of jobs.
Description, whatever.
Can you put it on the other right side?
Sorry.
It's not.
Yeah, talk about any kind of job description and kind of any, if you want to use this potential partners list for the manager search, I have put that in the packet as well.
Who was the last city manager hired somewhere in the county? It'd be nice to get maybe some of their feedback.
I believe Granlow.
Randall,
I believe he's the last
I
one that I know of.
think he showed up and they hired him. I don't know how they advertised that. I mean, it'd be nice to get some kind of protocol as far as what they use to, how they went about, obtaining interviews or whatever, potential candidates. You have to pay these people money to advertise this for you?
Yes.
And
Tyler, did Mr. Robinson send you an email, some of the things he wanted to, he said he was going to send you an email. Did he send you one saying some of the
I hadn't received it.
comments or qualifications or,
So he's not here, I know he's not.
yeah, Shane's sick?
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
no, I
I mean, that's cool.
Yeah, no, I hadn't received any emails.
So did anybody see or react to my response to this meeting concerning where we want the city to go and therefore consider that direction in what we think would be qualifications for a manager?
I didn't really understand that email that you sent, but how did that pertain to qualifications for a manager?
Well, what that was meant to do was say, hey, if we're looking in this direction, maybe we want a manager that has experience in this versus that, something. I mean, if we're going into a movement of perhaps growth mode, then do we have experience, in that matter? Do we have experience in projects? Do we have experience in this? If it's just, hey, we want a guy to come in here and maintain and make sure everything doesn't burn down, then that's fine too. Just try to get a pulse on where it is this council wants the city to go, if it's changed from what the goals and objectives were at the budget time.
Well,
Right?
I don't think any of our goals and objectives has changed. I think we're all still for the growth and things that's
Cool.
going on in the city.
It was a question.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I feel, as far as where we were at budget time, the goals, I'm still there with them.
Okay.
That hadn't changed.
Very good.
But see, that's why I didn't understand where the goals pertain to qualifications of anyone as far as a manager.
No.
A manager went.
No. What it pointed to was, if the goals and objectives were the same, and they were pointing to there's development, there's this and this and this, then perhaps we want to put something in the language that suggests that I've got some experience in this. You know what I'm saying? That makes sense.
No, not really. I mean, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from.
That's all I'm
I
saying.
don't think that would pertain to qualifications for the city manager, because once you get a city manager that's whatever our qualifications are going to be, once he meets that, then he's going to be directed to handle the goals and the objectives.
Absolutely. But as a minimum requirement, if these things were in place, if experience in that spot would be more beneficial to the city, then we may want to write that into that basic qualifications.
Yeah, but I
That's
think-
all I'm saying.
Yeah, but I think if you do that, if you write that in from the qualifications, that's gonna be a long list of qualifications. Once we start adding.
I only asked a question.
Yeah,
I only offered it up as,
Yeah, I
should we
get where you
consider?
come from, and I see what you're saying. I just think once you do that, you're opening the door up to a long list, which may, in the long run, limit, how many people will apply. If you put in there X, Y, and Z.
and
then you-
exactly why I did that, so we don't have a lot of round file.
Yeah, but you may overlook
Yeah.
somebody as a good potential candidate by doing it. I mean, if you put, I feel like if you put these stipulations in place, and you only get 2 candidates that apply, because those are the only ones that's qualified for what we put in the language, did you miss out on a good candidate over here? And if those are the only 2 that we got, and you had to pick one of them, what do we end up with? Are they good candidates?
I understand. They're, yeah, get it,
I mean, that's just my thought.
understand.
I just think we need to leave the options open to, if they're qualified, whatever qualifications would be.
I think that's the main thing, is what the council, what y'all want to do as far as what your qualifications, what you want it to be is what you're looking for in the whole realm of the whole picture, not just pick and choose bits and pieces. You're gonna need someone, hopefully, that understands where we are right now, and what we have to work, what we do have to work with, and the limitations where we are, and what are your goals, like you said, the goals and expectations for the town is the number one priority. But here's the thing about it, I don't know how we ever got up to the salary that we got as far as, the logistics for a city manager. If you look across, North South Carolina, Virginia, everywhere, it's around, a population like us is about $70,000 to $85,000.
We did the salary study, so we know where that is.
Understand
So
about
that's not the issue. If you have a qualified person that has generated and done the things they've done, the salary range is the salary range. I think, Mr. Tyler, you'll attest to that. So that's one of those things, you like it or not, you gotta live with it.
When you hire someone, you advertise the position, what's the salary going to be, and and also, what are you looking for as far as, I know Tyler's done a fantastic job filling in, but I don't know, what you're going to attract out there, and I don't know what his goals are. We just need to look at resumes. I don't think you need to go out here.
We need to advertise it
Seattle,
first.
Washington,
And
all these places.
that's why
Well, I
we're
think
here.
that's exactly why we're here.
That's why we're here,
What you
trying to
just
make
said.
up the qualifications and what needs to be put in the papers or the league's site and the other sites or wherever we're going to post these at. And one of the reasons why I said about one of this list is because, like the old saying goes, don't put all your eggs in one basket. That's why I don't rely on just the league. Because, we might only get 1 or 2, and that person might not be qualified. So that's why I said at least, a couple out of here, out of this list. I don't know anything about these people except for what's right here. But as far as qualifications lists, I was hoping we would have something showing, per policy or per personnel policy, somewhere in the city of Lowell, what a minimum of qualifications would be. But I know Madam Clerk she said she couldn't find anything. So we need something to show some qualifications. even if we've got to, don't reach out to Washington, like Mr. Simon said, Washington State, something local in this state and possibly in this county.
Surely to goodness, there was something that we hired Kraus.
There was nothing that we could find on our computers that was even from the previous city manager.
There should be still some resumes from.
There could have been resumes.
The resumes are fine.
There was
We're
no,
not talking about
There's not a
resumes, we're
base.
talking about-
There was-
We don't have a base.
there was no job description that we could find.
Is there, can we go to the league or someone, and I think we received this already, as a matter of fact, a basic
That's one
job
from
description.
other states. We need something local.
Yeah, here from the league of municipalities.
Close local.
And that's the thing that.
School of government or somebody.
And that's one thing, I think, the reason why we're, one of the reasons why we're here is that for the council as a whole to come up with what y'all believe are reasonable qualifications for this position. And again, and once we have those, again, I believe myself and Cheryl can work to try to form a job description to get, so we can get this position posted to the league or wherever we may also post this.
I think, and I don't want to speak out of turn, I think a starting point would be nice. A generic, something that is accepted in the state of North Carolina is general. Then we can tweak it, we can take this up, take this down, whatever it is you want to do. But to ask elected officials who don't deal with this every single day to come up with a job description, carte blanche, just like that, I think is very difficult to do.
Well, it might be a good idea. Just a thought, maybe reach out to, Belmont, Mount Holly, Crampton.
Exactly,
And
and
see
who else has done it?
They've got something in place that they can, get you a copy of. And just a guideline, something to start us on.
I mean, plagiarism is a bad word, right? But there also is no reason to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
So if we can use this, take from this, do that, and form our own, that would be great.
And here's my thought today, since we're short two council members, I don't think that we should even go any further discussing qualifications or anything like that. I think that the whole board needs to be here at the time that we are discussing
Correct.
qualifications and trying to put something together.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Russell. Instead of calling another meeting, could it be done, I know you said it was a gray area with emails. Could it not be something, email shot back and forth to all of us to just, because this is just a job description.
To include, not to include, something like that.
Yeah.
I want to see
I
this and
think,
that.
I think Tyler could send out an email that has proposed job descriptions for you to look at that would have, here's what I got from Mount Holly, here's what I got from Ranlo, here's how I would amend it. Any approval of a job description would have to be at a meeting. And similarly, if you decided to take this list and you were going to ask, I think one of the reasons this came up, this meeting, is one of the things Tyler had asked about at the last city council meeting is, are you ready for him to send out an RFQ, request for qualifications, to search firms to
Right.
lead a search, which is it's not a commitment, it's just saying, what would your cost be, what would your scope of work be, and bring that back. And I think the response was, let's meet and talk about that. So if you wanted to approve Tyler's or the city setting out an RFQ, that would be at a meeting where we would vote on that. But he can send out, here's what I've got, here's a draft edit of what, I don't really think there's a problem with that, but you have to come back to talk about it
Right.
and approve it. Did that
Right, yeah,
answer your
for something,
question?
yeah, to approve it, yes, I knew it had to be in a public setting. But as far as, sending it to Phil and saying, and Phil throws his, suggestions in it, and then I'll throw mine in there and same along down the line, and, then just throw it into the, instead of calling a special meeting,
Right.
throw it into the agenda.
Tyler puts it all together, throws out a final draft and says, hey, do you like this? Is this
Once I have all the,
good?
once I have all the
Right.
comments.
You
Let's go.
could respond back to him individually, here's my thoughts, here's my comments. He then brings them back to discuss.
And there's nothing wrong saying, well, I'd like to say,
That would be okay.
there's nothing wrong, well, I don't like this, but can you put this in there?
where you're making that as a comment to Tyler, I mean, that's a public record, someone could request it if they needed to. Any discussion of it would then be at the council meeting.
Right, I mean, because it's not being approved.
Right.
But it's just saying, my suggestion is put this in
I
there.
think,
So
I
that's
think
no
where I'm
problem.
going is, I don't want to interrupt, but you want a template,
Right,
correct?
because,
In the state of North Carolina, just a template, and then we kind of cut and paste or add to and say, what do you think about this? What do you think, blah, 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 blah. Come up with a final draft. If we have to come back collectively like this, which we hope we don't have to do, we'd like to do it over email, but we can and say, yeah, I approve this as our job description.
Correct.
Right. But we don't need to have to come back and forth to do all this kind of stuff.
because here's my thought process. I mean, we've got a week and several days, about a week and a half, a week and a couple days. Get in touch with close cities that's thereabouts our size. Email it out to us of what a job description is.
Okay.
We can send it back to you, and you can put it on the agenda for September 10th. That way, we're not calling this special meeting no more. We shouldn't have to, I mean, because we can call it in the agenda, because, I mean, I can sit here and tell him that, well, I want a person that's reliable, we all know that. But as far as main qualifications, I don't know. I just sit here and looked on the internet, and I mean, it's just giving me generic stuff. I don't know where to look because y'all couldn't find anything for here from when Kraus or Al Green, or, of course, that's going way back, but Kraus and Attaway. So some kind of job description, I mean,
Again, a
I think
template to
it's
start
simple,
from.
yeah.
I think it'd be simple if you just ask Tyler to get in touch with Mount Holly. They just recently hired him.
Well, that's what we're asking him to
Just
do.
Just one simple, just HR over there and the resumes and how they went about hiring a city manager, what was their requirements, whatever, and how the motion was made whenever they entered into seeking a city manager, all the way to when they hired a city manager. And that would give you a quicker illustration without having to go too far, maybe not have to spend a whole lot of money, but get the requirements and what.
We can just get their job
Yeah,
descriptions and
just-
tweak it to Lowell standards.
Right, and I think that's what I said.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I think that's what I just-
I'm just talking about there, you got one 6-8 miles away. And-
Right,
Yeah.
but you can do like
I'm gonna-
Cranerton,
I'm
Belmont,
Randall.
Holly, that way, you
Here's
pick
the-
and choose.
And you're not wasting it, you're not spending money on
Here's
it.
here's the thing too, Larry, you've got to understand, is these guys are doing all these different things. So what they're looking for in a manager may be different if, we're going in a different direction in what they're thinking. So, our qualifications may not be, or the requirements may not be at the same level, which is why I asked, what is it exactly we're trying to do in the next 4 years?
I'm just talking about one that's
So,
hired.
that's why I say, I think, to your point, Mr. Chipwood, the right thing to do is get a template in, throw our 2 cents in, back and forth to Tyler. We'd like to see this added, like to see this, what does this mean? How does this work out? And then mold it to what we're looking for.
And then we should be able to vote on it, or approve it.
Well, yeah, exactly.
September.
Come together, we've got
That
a
way it's
final
already
draft.
on,
and
it's
boom.
getting out there. Now, as far as advertising, these folks with advertising, do you have any suggestions?
The only one that I'm familiar with is In Focus. It's the only one that I'm familiar with. And I don't know.
There again, when you talk to Mount Holly, they can probably tell you how they went about it.
Kings Mountain just did it too, so.
Right. And Randloper did theirs a couple weeks,
As far around though, I wouldn't talk about Holly because they went about it the right way.
Right.
Well, I think what we need.
I think both which
first
is just a description.
Job description, then we can go
Yes.
Then we
off
can,
the job description for the qualification.
right. And I think, like I said, just getting maybe 3. We don't need 5 or 10. We just need 3. Because I would assume that most of the language is going to be the same.
Pretty
Again,
close to the same.
Yeah, and then again, maybe some of the qualifications could be different, And again, whatever we want to add in for ours. it'd be
So on that
nice.
note, we're gonna get you to get 3.
Yep.
And
And by 3, you're talking get 3, that's 3 people to
3.
use.
No,
Or
Three-
3, or
three
3
job
descriptions.
job descriptions.
Right, right.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And then
Sorry. Yeah.
shoot it out to us as
Right.
quick as possible. And that way we can all read it, and then we'll tweak it to what we'd like for it to
Throw
say.
in what we want to say, yeah.
And then shoot them emails back to you.
None of which is required in this type of format.
Right, and that way you bring it in front of us on September, what'd I say, the 10th?
That's right.
And am I right on this, John?
That's right,
Okay.
yes,
This all
10,
sounds
that's right,
good.
yeah.
Okay, and then that way we can go ahead and come by September 11th or 12th, you're throwing it in the advertising, get it
So,
out there.
and what you're, just for clarification, you're saying we're going to approve a job description.
We should approve
Yeah,
a job
that-
description by September the 10th.
That's the way I understand it, okay.
Well, job description / qualifications.
That's the same
Okay.
thing, it'll be all the same thing.
It's all the same thing.
It's your job description, you put your qualifications inside the job description.
Right. The job description requires this. If you don't, and the qualifications are listed within that.
I was just thinking about how the personnel policy was written. Just like, for example, the chief's position, it's got his job description, but it don't have qualifications. You know, like so much schooling, so much education, and all that.
Right.
That's not intertwined.
It will be in this. This is a
In the
contract
description.
position.
In the description that goes in the newspaper, whatever we're gonna call, we put it in.
It'll,
It has it all. It'll all be on one.
And this is separate too, correct? It's a contract position, so it is on its own. It lives on its own. Does not fall under anything else, correct?
I'm not sure I understand your question. So the city manager is a contract position, but there are certain aspects of the personnel policy that apply? Is that what you're asking?
No, as far as qualifications are concerned, we create our own for this. And it lives on its own. It does not fall under any other, and I don't know if it would deviate
Correct.
from or be any different
You all
from.
decide both.
But we are, qualifications and, excuse me, what the terminology you used,
not description, job description.
job description are all in one, inclusive to this contract position.
Correct.
You
all
can't trump
decide-
and say, well, because the city allows for this, it comes into here. No, the contract is in this box, and that's where the contract lives.
Right. You
Right.
will decide both. You decide the job description and the qualifications
Right.
that you're going to.
But you can't move one into another because it's a contracted position. Therefore, it lives inside its own little piece over here. You see what I'm saying?
I don't think so, actually.
You can't pick and choose, it's either.
You can't
make your
move and say,
resume-
but because the city allows this, then I can move this over here. The contract is the contract,
That's right.
and it lives right here by itself. There's no pulling or pushing. This is what you got.
That's the
Right.
key to it, and no one's in a hurry.
Who says it has to be a contracted position?
That's
It's
what the
just
city
a-
manager is.
That was what you folks
Set
came
by
up
who?
with, by the old council.
Is that, do you know if that's
By
general statute?
Yeah, by statute, the city manager position is a board position. Most of the time, you will have a contract. I mean, most of the time, the board will approve a city manager.
To be worked out by the
So-
council
So
and
if
the.
it's most of the time, that's not a
Correct.
requirement.
It is not, it is
Right.
not an absolute requirement that you
Correct.
have a contract for your city manager. That person could be an employee at will. It
And they will be.
It might be difficult to get a city manager to come in and agree without a contract. So when I say most of the time, that most of city managers will have a contract, but it is not a statutory.
But I think what Scott's trying to point out is the fact that if you enter into a contract, that's a contract, for legitimate time, whatever the period would be. And it will state like North Carolina is, where you work here at will, and the council wants to make a decision or whatever, and they want to leave, they can leave as well. And I don't think binding people, I think we have plenty of time to do this, we don't have to rush in, like Scott said earlier. the whole council should be here and everyone have interject the things they want to put into the thing. Just take your time, no one's in a hurry.
Well, that's why I made that suggestion that email it out, you got, and it's gonna be coming to us.
Right. And let me ask you, John, you may not be aware of, I know in our personnel policy, that there's a section in there that says no employee for city employee shall have a contract. Would that apply to a city manager as well, since that's part of the personnel policy?
I'm not familiar with that section of the personnel policy. I would think it would not, because the city manager is a board position, but I will look at that and get you an answer, because that does seem somewhat inconsistent
Yeah,
to have that
and-
as a personnel
Yeah,
policy
if there's
with a contract.
If we come up with a contract, that's fine, I understand it, I had read that in the personnel policy, that no employee shall be given a contract with city employee.
Yeah.
And along that line, Scott, did they ever adopt a personnel policy? And you probably are working on a policy. Do you know, Tyler, if they ever adopted a policy for the new personnel policy? What is the new personnel policy?
We have,
Yeah,
And
so-
I'm talking about, the
Yeah.
part that they were working on one at one time. I hadn't seen that copy. Can we get a copy of that personnel policy?
I think the language, John, would be, is the city manager a contractor or an employee,
City manager is an employee,
not a contract.
not a
If
contract.
the board worded it that way, it would be.
He's a W-2, or, they're a W-2 employee, they're an employee of the city. There is some additional terms and conditions of their employment that are most of the time spelled out in the contract. They are always, just like every employee, an employee at will. So, which means the city council could let them go at any time. It's just might be some
Might have
terms
some
and conditions.
So that's
contractual
not-
obligations.
That's not what we inherited
Assessment.
when we got elected. There was a contract on the table, X amount of dollars for this, that, and the other. And I think that's what, I think that maybe Scott may be going.
They
to.
were still, the manager was still an employee at will.
I
They could have
understand,
been
but they
terminated.
had things in the
Correct.
contract stating what they would pay if whatever something would happen. And that's binding the future council, which I don't think by law you could really do that, but of course, they got by with it.
I think right now, we're actually way off subject.
No, we're not
We're
talking
just-
about a contract for a new city manager.
It has
If we
nothing to
have
do
one.
with the job description of what we're, city manager search, I don't think, but
Well, if you-
what's that, Ms. Robinson?
I agree with you. We're going a little deeper than we need to go right now.
Oh, I thought you said something, I'm sorry.
I'm talking about the contract,
Well, I know, but
Yeah,
that's-
he's just the manager, I
well,
mean,
when Phil brought up contracted position, that's why I asked what I asked.
Yeah, I'm just, I get
I'm
that.
trying to figure out where we are
Right.
on this
But I thought we were
position.
just doing
Yeah, you're right.
job description slash,
North
to get this
Carolina.
thing put in the papers, or put it, just advertised.
And I would
That's what I
think
thought.
whoever would come in to be interviewed, they would already know that it's in that will state. I mean, you say they're probably looking for a contract, I don't know, maybe they're looking for employment, they wanna, have a job. But whatever you put in there is what's gonna be law, I understand that. And whoever fills out the application, they're gonna know what the requirements will be, and that's what this is all about. And we're not in any hurry, 2 members are not here. I think that we're really just, talking and going through the procedures, but.
Well, I mean, we
Full
just
board
made
here.
a plan
Right.
for him to do something about finding a job description and send an email out to us, and then the other 2 will see it. Because, I mean, it's no reason to call another meeting when we've got another meeting coming up in a week and a half.
I'm sure you could have it, but
Do we need a motion for that?
You're just giving him direction.
Give him
So
direction.
he's
Do
just
what
now-
he's
Yeah, I was gonna say, shouldn't need a motion.
All right.
I mean, you'd be voting on something with 6% of the council, but that's up to y'all.
One more thing before we get out of here is off subject, y'all kill me if you want to. No cameras tonight, no internet last time. What do we need to do to get this right?
So, the employees who are working on trying to get the, audio, video to work, they were on it, trying to work up until the last second, trying to get this resolved. this is not an in-house thing that we do with the programs. You know, we can either, you know, spend the money to do some upgrades that they have suggested, or, you know, simply,
I'm asking you right now,
Go
at
away.
the next council meeting, to come with whatever package needs to be included to make sure that we have audio and video on every council meeting.
And the last one, the internet.
the internet, yeah, if you have,
That's what I'm
the-
saying, so what is the
Yeah, well-
backup for that? What is
There is no
There's
Yeah,
backup
there's-
when Spectrum's down.
I mean, we can't control, I can't control what Spectrum AT&T, you know, it could be working 5 seconds before the meeting. If it goes down, we're, you know, we
I
don't.
have Spectrum 2 here in town, it didn't go down, I understand it's localized.
Right.
This and this. and
But
this.
I mean, I know that is a huge concern to try to get
It
this.
is.
Yeah, but again, we're limited on what we can do, again, because it's not in-house. If it was in-house and we had
Yeah.
somebody to
We need
actually,
to make sure that we broadcast, you know, this is down and it ain't us, and it's these, and so on and so forth. That's all I'm saying.
Just cancel the meeting until you get it working. I mean, just call the meeting off until you get everything working. That's simple. If it's not working, just call the meeting off.
No,
No.
we're not gonna do that. We
No.
should make sure that if there's something going
I mean, if
on,
we-
that we've got backup to,
Well,
if
if
it's
not,
internal, that we've got backup to make it get up.
if not, I mean, just like Mr. Knox is doing right there, Facebook Live, that's a source of filming.
That's not what all the public sitting at home, they're not dependent on that. They're not dependent on this, they can come to the meeting as well, but this is what's been put in place and we're paying for it, and it should be protocol.
I
And
get
it
it, I
should be
understand.
up and working. If it's not working, call the meeting off until you get it working. That's-
No,
that's
I
the
will
best.
call a meeting on.
That's your prerogative, you're councilman. I'm just,
Thank you.
my suggestion. That's all, just a suggestion.
I'm just telling you that, no, I won't call a meeting off. Not a more board meeting that is a once a month board meeting. Even if you've called these special meetings, unless there's not enough people here, that's the only time it really needs to be called off. Like I said, I mean, you can Facebook Live, you can throw it, you can film it, and then throw it on YouTube later, announce it on the city's website. A lot of people see stuff on the city website that they don't see on Facebook, and vice versa.
yeah, and like I said, we've tried, I mean, we worked up until the last second to try to get this up and running again. It's just, it's an off-site thing, trying to work with 2 different partners, and again,
How did it work good before and it's not working good now? I mean, that's my question.
I can't speak to that, because,
I mean, nothing's changed really, and what was stated to me earlier, they started about an hour ago trying to get this thing up and running. About an hour.
that's what I mean, they've been they were trying to get it again, it's
They just said it
Is
here.
there somebody local?
Well,
Maybe you somebody
well,
in Dallas or something?
our IT is local,
Our
our IT guy's local, but I believe the
They
agenda,
don't do, Agenda Link is not a local,
right.
But he doesn't have no knowledge of Agenda Link.
not to the extent that it getting there and fix stuff. So
Right.
the guy with the Agenda Link he wasn't able to contact us back.
Well, is there anybody local that knows anything about Agenda Link? Or we have
That's
checked on it?
Not, that's just, yeah, I think that's just a single, you know, company that, you know, kind of works with our IT company, but again, it sounds like it's a hit or miss on trying to, you know, get them.
But folks gotten used to it out there and they kind of enjoy it, I think, so they call and complain and.
Oh, yeah, we're fully aware that it needs to be up and running. Again, we're doing everything we can to get it up and running for everybody.
All right.
And the clock, like you said, that's a good idea, get the clock fixed.
That's gonna be on the agenda for September as well.
I guess
Somebody, anything else?
Motion to adjourn?
That's it. Yeah.
Motion adjourned.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you. Good meeting you. Good work.
Yeah.